Oh, great. Was I supposed to? Hi, everyone. Awesome, 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 awesome. Uh, I see Helen. I see Mfodombong. I see um, Uchechku Precious, Ifnaya Julia. Welcome, 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 welcome. It's such an honor and a lovely moment to have you all present here. Quickly let me know if you can hear me, you can see me. Let us know in the comment section where you're joining from. If you have not been told, if you're not informed, you're joining National Writers Summit, the virtual version. So be rest assured of a truckload of value because that is what we are signing for. Awesome, phone number. I am excited to see you too. Thank you so much for joining. I see you, Faith. Welcome, Faith is joining from Enugu, and uh, Uchechukwu Precious is joining from Onitsha. That is Anambra. Helen is joining and watching from Abuja. That's beautiful. Okay, Funanya is also joining from Abuja. Awesome. So while we wait for our speaker for tonight, I would want you to let me know what you're expecting. Tonight is going to be a great night. Trust me, you will not regret your time being here because it just has to be lovely. It just has to be worth it because our speakers are packed. Like they have the value. They are dragging it to the truck and coming right here to give it to you. So tonight we'll be having Mr. Stanley Udegbunan, who is a SEO content writing expert who has practiced for nearly a decade. I mean, nearly, when I say nearly, I mean a year difference. So you are going to learn from the best. We always choose the best. If you've ever been to our events, those of you who have been to 360 Youth Conference, you can always attest to the fact that it's either value or nothing. Yes, it's a premium value or nothing. We don't trade that. All right. Oh, beautiful. I'm so glad you can hear me. I'm so glad you're expectant. I'm so happy that you're here with me tonight. Here, if you know someone who should be here tonight, please send them a link. I know they did not register. I know they did not follow the normal process, but please do them a favor by sending them this link. As we get started for tonight, we just have about 2 other minutes as we start. Okay, Macbeth is joining from Cross River. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining, Macbeth. Yeah, I got it right. Macbeth Silva. Thank you so much for joining from Cross River. I hope Cross River is fine today. I look forward to having engaging moments. Mfonombong said, I find no words to describe how expectant I am, but I shall thank God. Thank you, ma'am, for being selfless with your knowledge. Oh, lovely. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. Premium value or nothing. Yes, it's either value or nothing. So we already have spent about 11 minutes of our time here. We will be starting at 7:15 on the dot. Our speaker should be with us shortly. If you know someone who have not joined, your friend, your enemy, your neighbor, anybody you know that this knowledge will help. And the truth about this conference is as much as it's for writers, it's not just for those who are actively into writing. Because if you understand how it works, you can easily know when you're paying someone to do it, and you will know when they're doing it right and when they're not getting it right. Do let me know if you can hear me sound and clear. Tonight we'll be learning on how to understand. You want to be understanding SEO marketing in full details. Please go nowhere. Just make sure you invite someone. Send this link to all those group chats you belong to that they are sending unnecessary information there. Send the link. Click on the arrow pointing your your right, that arrow on the right automatically gives you the option to copy the link or share to a certain platform. Share on your Facebook, share on your Instagram, share everywhere. Make sure that everyone around you is with us. We are starting at 7:15 on the dot. Make sure that someone is here, that your writer friend that is tired, they no longer want to go on. Tell them there is a gold mine, there is a baptism, a deliverance happening here, and they cannot afford to miss it. We can't assure you of a replay. Please network. Where are the ushers? Please get us holy water. Network, leave Helen Michael alone. She is on a very serious business. All right, so we're starting already.
Okay, okay. Greetings, everyone. Sound check. Can you all hear me? Testing the microphone. One, two.
Very sound and clear. Thank you so much, Mr. Stan, for joining us here tonight. And for those of us who don't know, sorry for cutting you short. I have to do that since you're here. Mr. Stanley Udegbunan, is one of the finest SEO content writer. I mean, this is no exaggeration. Someone who has almost a decade experience, he ought to be heard. Have attention. You need to be here. And tonight we'll be learning on decoding on pages SEO. And for those of you who don't know what SEO means, don't go nowhere. He will be demystifying everything, all those things you don't understand about SEO. He will be doing justice to that. So sit back, have your pen and paper, and ensure you engage because it's going to be a lovely learning process. Thank you so much, Mr. Stan, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for this audience. And are we all good to get started? I have it open on multiple screen here so I can see those dropping messages as well. So yeah, trying to see if I can just present my screen so it will be much more easier for everyone. Right. So as I proceed, just be dropping your messages on the chat so I can know if everything is currently on track. Okay, my screen is visible, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay, am I still on board? Just a moment so I can be sure the messages are coming in. Please, if you can see the screen, just drop your messages so we know we are all on track. Let me make sure we are all on track. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I have it also put out here. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I can see you, Ada, Helen, right? Inform. Okay, so we are currently on track. So yeah, today we'll be talking about SEO, and we'll be focusing primarily on page SEO, right? So if you have questions about SEO, okay, Sophia, I can see you. Thanks. So if you have questions about SEO, you've been confused, you are a content writer, so this is the best place to be, right? So SEO, it's something that every content writer out there, as long as you're a writer writing for the web, you should have a little knowledge of SEO, right? Except if you write for poem, like a poetic writer and stuff like that, then it's probably not a big deal. But if you write for the web, basically you're a content writer or you're a copywriter, freelance writer, or a niche writer. By niche writer, I mean any kind of niche at all. It could be education writer, it could be writing for SaaS company, whatever it is, you should have an idea of SEO. All right. So this is a 30-minute space, maximum extra 10 minutes to cover questions. And definitely we cannot cover everything that is there to know about SEO within 30 to 40 minutes, but we'll try as much as we can. So I welcome you all again to this space and let us get started. Yeah, so um I'm Stanley. My name is Stanley Udegbunan, and I'm a top-rated SEO expert, right? And I have about 8+ years in this field, and within this space of 8 years, I've been able to work across agencies, B2B brands, SaaS platform, e-commerce, and I started as content writer, from content writer to SEO content writer to SEO analyst, and now I work in managerial roles as SEO manager, right, and executive SEO. And I also have some background in software development, so we try to train ML models to have productized SEO solution. But let's not really go into that much details, right? So this is just a snapshot of everything I've been able to do, just a summary. So I currently work as an SEO manager, and I work multiple fields. Some of them are part time, some of them are once a week. But this is just a breakdown of them all, right? Some of these names are familiar here, but then I am currently in Nigeria and we do majority of the stuff behind the scenes. Yes, okay, welcome Eunice. And for those of you that's very familiar with Upwork, definitely as an SEO content writer, you can also sell your service and render your service on Upwork. So, and over time, you can grow in the field using the services to be like a top rated or a top rated plus and stuff like that. So, the tips we'll be sharing here, the tips I'll be sharing here are take home tips that you can use anywhere that service is being rendered. As long as it's content writing service or SEO based service, you can definitely use the knowledge you get here for everything you need, right? So if we're on track, please be dropping your message on the live chat because I have it put up here so I can keep track of whenever we cut off the call. So let us go to the meat of the content. So we'll start with what is on page SEO, and then we'll move down to why on page SEO matters, and we'll walk through the blueprints for modern content writers. So this covers through the keyword research, the content creation, title tags and meta description, the URL structures, heading tags, image optimization. We have internal and external links, mobile friendliness, conclusion, then questions. So this is just summary of everything we're going to cover in these 30 minutes. I know it's a lot, so you pardon me. We will just be hitting the surface. We'll just be storing your questions so that whenever we get to the end, you can ask all the questions. So let's start with on-page SEO, right? So on-page SEO basically refers to optimization techniques that you use directly in your content, right? So that you rank on search engines and you'll be able to attract more organic traffic. You know, when you write articles, right? And you browse on Google, you are trying to get information from Google, you browse on Google and you see some things on your website, right? You see some things on Google homepage. You see the first result, second result, third result, and most of the times you end up clicking on that first result. So what actually make whatever that's that first result to be there? Right? Why is that website in the first result? And if you are very observant, you look below your search bar, you'll notice that you always see page one of page 1 point something billion results, right? Page one of page 1.3 billion, page one of page 13 billion. So it basically means that for that single thing you search, we have about 13 billion results, right? 13 billion websites, 13 billion blogs that have written on just that one thing you search. So what makes the website in the first position? What makes it there? That is the SEO. That's basically what SEO is. So the SEO experts, they are the ones working on all those websites, right? So that you'll be at the very first result. And truth be told, you end up clicking on just the first result. How many times have you actually scrolled through Google and you scroll down or even went to page two, page three, page four? Most times when you're looking for something, if you don't see it on the page one, you end up refining your search and you search again. Most people don't go to page two and page three, page four, and otherwise, right? So this is the reason why SEO is very important, because you want your website or you want your company's website to be on that very first page. And one of the things we do to achieve that is what we call on-page SEO. Is that okay? So yeah, so why does on-page SEO matters? So, with billions of websites vying for attention on the internet, ensuring that your content is discoverable by search engine is paramount, right? So, properly optimizing your on-page content can significantly boost your visibility, drive targeted traffic to your site, and most importantly, increase conversions. Okay. Okay. So, let's continue. Now, let's start with the keyword research, right? So, these are the different processes you need to take as a content writer when you are getting started with on-page SEO. So follow me as we walk through this step, and please be very attentive, right? Because these things are very, very detailed, right? We don't want to miss out on all these things. I hope my screen is very clear. The one by the side, is it visible, or should I still zoom in on it? Drop a message on the chat. Let me know if it's visible enough. I think this is okay. You're on track, sir. Okay, thank you, Ada. I can see that. Sunday, welcome to this space. All right, so starting with keyword research. So for keyword research, we start by conducting thorough keyword research to identify relevant terms and phrases that your target audience is searching for. All right, so let me give you a very typical example. So assuming you are a content SEO writer or you are an SEO expert, and Uche said it's not visible enough. Let me just try to zoom in. You can also zoom in on your screen using your phone. I think I've gotten to my maximum zoom length. So you can use your phone and just zoom in on your screen. So yeah, back to the example. So let's just say you work for Nike, or let's use Adidas. You know Adidas, right? The sporting brand. And you are a content writer for Adidas, SEO content writer to be precise, or you're among the SEO departments where you work as an SEO expert or what have you, and you want to optimize their content, or you want to optimize their websites around a particular keyword. Probably your company recently released a new brand of shoes, right, for football. So you want to optimize it around something like, say, buy soccer footwear, right? Buy soccer footwear. So that anybody that comes to Google and browse buy soccer footwear or buy football footwear, you want your Nike, you want your Adidas to be there at number one. So you start with conducting keyword research, right? So buy football footwear is just one phrase. You have to get other phrases. So let me give you an example. Buy football footwear is one. Buy football shoe is another one. Probably the shoe is white. Buy white football shoe, right? Buy white soccer shoe. So you have to do keyword research to find what are those possible words that whenever they type on the screen, they are still referring to the same product, right? And with the keyword research, you probably end up with over 1,000 of these keywords. So you are not really targeting one particular keyword. You have to target like a cluster of keyword. And we have different tools for conducting this keyword research. Majority of them are paid tools, but we still have some couple of the free tools out there just in case you are getting started, right? So we have SEMrush, we have Ahrefs, and these are tools that can help you uncover these keywords. And they don't just help you uncover these keywords; they give you the search volume. They tell you how many thousands of people are searching for this particular keyword on Google in a month. How many thousands of people are searching for this other particular keyword. So when you have about 1,000 plus of those keywords, it's on a spreadsheet, and you can see the volume, you can see the search volume, you can see the traffic via country. How many people from US is searching for this keyword? How many people from Nigeria search for this keyword? You need all this data to know how you can construct your article, right? And then we also have free too, but the very major, the most important of them all is Google Keyword Planner. I don't know if you've heard of Google Keyword Planner. If you've heard of any of these two before now, drop it on the comments. Any of them at all, Ahrefs, SEMrush, SC Ranking, Google Keyword Planner. If you've come across them at all, just drop them on the comment. Let us know these are not strange. So yeah, that's keyword research. So when you're done with keyword research, you have all your data and you've exported them to like a spreadsheet. The next most important thing you will do is content creation, right? So this is where you start by writing the content, and of course you have to craft very high engaging content that's very valuable to the reader. There are sometimes when you browse on Google and you land on a particular web page, you're not satisfied. It didn't really do justice to what you're looking for. You will just jump out, right? Now when you jump out, you leave that website and you go back to Google. That's what we call bounce rates. And bounce rates is a very bad negative signal to web page. So if we have a majority of users always coming to your site and within seconds they are bouncing back, meaning you're not giving them what they want, but your title said you were meant to give them a particular thing, so you clickbaited them. And this is not YouTube. YouTube, you see YouTubers, you give a particular headline, watch how this and this happened, and when you click on it, it's something different. You just get annoyed. Over here on Google, when you do stuff like that and people bounce back, it affects you negatively. So, as we were ranking as number one or number two before, and we have people jumping in and out, right? You notice that your rank is gradually dropping. You don't come to Google and you don't beat people. So, this is why you have to really craft a very high engaging content that perfectly aligns with the topic you're talking about. Now, remember the keyword you talk about from the first stage. When you craft this content, you incorporate these target keywords naturally throughout your content. But it has to be very natural, right? You don't do it in a way that it looks like you are spamming. You don't say because I'm targeting white soccer shoe. You will just be adding white soccer shoe everywhere inside your write up in a kind of manner that it doesn't make sense. So you need to be very crafty about it. It should like be very seamless. I'll show you a live example of all these things, right? And aim for comprehensiveness, like in-depth article that covers thoroughly the topic at hand. So now we have what we call title tag and meta description. I'm not seeing any new comments on the chat. Please be dropping your comments as we proceed so I'll know we are on track. That's the only way I can be sure when we are off grid. So yeah, we have title tag and meta descriptions, right? So for those of you that are used to WordPress or blogger.com, there is this thing we call title tag and meta descriptions, right? So when you are browsing on Google, all those titles you are seeing, they are basically the title tag. You set them directly from the website or from your blog. So they are what we call a title tag. Then the meta description are those very small, like brief overview. When you see the title, you see that very small 2 to 3 sentence right up before you click on it. So that's the meta tag, right? So that's the meta description. So your title tag should of course contain the keyword, right? And your meta description should also contain the keyword. So let me say my title tag is something like best, probably seven best soccer shoes, seven best footwear, right? For football, for soccer, something like that. You can see how I crafted it. My keyword is in the title tag. And then in the meta description, you see something like in this article, we'll break down the seven best footwear for football. This. Just a small overview. You can see me also blending the keyword in the meta description. So still very important. You don't miss that. And then the URL structure, right? So the URL structure should be very clean, short, concise, contain the keyword, and straight to the point. So, like I said, we are writing an article on best soccer footwear. You can see how short it is. My URL will be something like maybe your website.com slash best dash soccer dash foot dash wear. Short. You don't add prepositions, you don't add you don't add adjectives, you don't add pronouns, you don't add words like a and d with, right? It's just the major word that you just add in the URL to make it very, very short, right? And your URL shouldn't be long. You don't need to have very long URLs, and you don't need to have unnecessary parameters. When you see some URL, you take a look at them, you see things like question mark, hyphen, asterisk. Those things are trash. You don't need all those things. So just the keyword itself, and you're good to go. That's for URL structure. Now let's come to heading tags. All right. So the heading tags are basically how you structure your content on your Google Docs or your Microsoft Word. Of course, when you write your Microsoft Word or you write on Google Docs, and the heading tag is basically how you structure it. So this is the rule of thumb. The main heading of the article should be in H1 tag. I believe most of us know that. So the main heading of the article in H1 tag, then your subheadings is H2 to H5, thereabouts. Your core subheading should be in H2, and then if you have a nested subheading, so we have a subheading in each H2 tag, and maybe inside that subheading we have another subheading that will now be in H3 tag. Now, if we have the H3 tag and we're writing on the H3 subheading, how we have another subheading again inside the H3 subheading, that will be what? H4 tag. Perfect. Right? And then H4 to H5. Well, it's not really necessary getting to H4 to H5. H1, H2, H3, they are just the major one that's recognized by Google. Any other thing outside H3, just bold it, right? Just probably bold it or just put it in italics. There's no much points going to H4, H5, H6, especially H5 and H6 is not really necessary for Google, but H1 and H2 very important. Then if your subheading have other subheadings, they will all be in H3 tag. So remind me, like I said, you will have a live view of all these things. All right. So now image optimization, very important. So your image needs to be very, very, very optimized. And of course, the keywords should also be in the image, right? So you will not just, most times when you download an image, say you're writing a blog about um what we're going to use now, best laptops, something like that, best laptop for content writing. You have a blog post you want to put online, best laptop for content writing. Now you go to the internet to browse, maybe you have an HP laptop in mind, HP Inspiron, something like that, HP Pavilion, I mean, and you go online, you browse HP Pavilion, and then you download the image of HP Pavilion, right? Now notice that most times when you download images like that, it always have a very funny name. You see something like IMG 10 20 30. Are you guys with me? Very, very funny names. IMG dash 10 15 14 as the image name, right? So you have to rename those image. You cannot carry those images like that and you put it on your blog post and you expect your blog post to rank. It won't, because one of your ranking signals your image processes, right? So you have to optimize your image for ranking. So you have to rename the image and make sure it contains a descriptive file name. And by descriptive file name, I mean contains the keyword you are trying to target. And of course, you have to compress your image, right? You cannot download the image of like 10 MB and you upload it on your website or your company's website or your blog, and you expect that content to rank. Most times when you check the website on the first page, when you open it, you see that they open very fast, like speed of light. Less than 3 to 5 seconds, they've already opened because everything on the web page is very light. So you cannot use a very heavy image and you expect your content to be anywhere within first to 5 page of Google. Google like prioritizing websites that have a fast load time. And one of the ways to have fast load time is to compress your images. Now, how do you compress your images? There are a lot of free tools out there you can use to compress your image. One of them is pixlr.com. But then once you just browse, you come across a lot of them. You don't really need to be a graphic expert and start using stuff like Photoshop. There are a lot of free tools out there, right? Just browse compress image, you see lots of them. And now you might ask, what is an ideal image size to use for your website to have a perfect optimized image? Well, I'll tell you that rule of thumb, your images should be less than 150 KB. I didn't say 150 MB, 150 KB, 150 kilobytes. Right? So that's a good rule of thumb for your images to be less than 150 kilobytes. I try to achieve images less than 100 kilobytes. So most of my images are within 85 KB, 75 KB, 55 KB. Very, very, very light. Right. So someone says my screen is not clear. How about now? Is it clear? Can I have a new message countering the previous one on the chat saying that it's clear? I just tries to zoom it. Okay. So yeah, so how would you really source for the kind of images you need? How can you source for quality image? So there are a lot of free stock images out there. Mind you, don't just go to Google and browse. Don't just go to Google and browse for an image and carry and put on your website. You might be flagged with a penalty, right? A copyright penalty, and it can cost you a lot, or it can cost your company a lot. You don't download images from Google like that and put it on your website. I know it's a common thing we do all the time, but when it comes to ranking sites on Google, you don't do stuff like that, right? Because you can be penalized, and the original owner of that image can sue you, and you pay heavily for it. So you must get your images from free stock photo websites. And majority of the places where we get our image from, have you heard of Pixabay? So we have Pixabay, we have Unsplash, we have Pexus, we have we have raw pixels. There are a lot of them. You can just go online and just browse free stock image websites. So make sure you're always downloading pictures from free stock image websites. Don't make that mistake, especially when you're working with a company, else they will sue your company. All right. So make sure you're always getting your images from free stock image websites. And the good thing is that most of these images there, when you're downloading them, they'll ask you for the different size. You see the small, you see the medium, you see the large. Okay, it's very clear now. Thank you, Ada. So you see the small, you see the medium, and you see the large. So most of the times I like downloading the medium size. All right. So the medium size, they are mostly less than 100 KB. If they're above 100 KB, it's just a little different. Say like 130, 150, 180 KB, then I can now easily compress it to my desired size. And that is how you perfectly optimize the image. So I come again, download the clear image for a free stock photo site. If it's beyond 150 KB, try to compress it using any of the free to out there, and then you make sure you rename your image to contain your target keywords. And once you do that, you are perfectly good to go, right? So let's move on to internal and external linking, right? So internal links, we have what we call internal links and external links. So internal links is basically, say you have you have different content on your website. Sorry, just a moment. It's clear now. Okay. Okay, just a moment. Just a moment. Let me sure we are on track. Okay. Okay, so yeah. So you have different let's see, I'm switching my lightning. Okay, so you have different content on your website. You have different blog posts on your website, and let's say you want to link from one of your blog posts to a previous blog post. That's what we call internal link. So internal link is basically when you are linking between relevant pages on your website, right? So it is also a positive ranking signal. You need to link your content. It has its own SEO benefits. And we also have what we call external links. So it's basically the opposite of internal links. So for external links, you are linking from your website to another website. Say I got a research from another website and I want to link to it. That particular link is what we call external link. And some people are usually selfish with that link. They end up saying things like, why should I link to other websites? Most people will end up clicking away from my site and then they go to other websites, right? Don't think that way. If you obtain some information, some data from another website, link to it. You don't do it everywhere. Just give it like 2 or 3 links across your content. Why? Because it has its own it have its own SEO benefits. So external links are one of the ranking factors for on-page SEO, right? So that's internal and external link. And then we have mobile friendliness. So we are wrapping up because our time is limited. So mobile friendliness is basically, how does your website look like? How does your blog look like on other platforms? How does it look like on a mobile screen? How does it look like on an iPad screen? All right, so you shouldn't just focus on just how it look like on your laptop, on the desktop screen. It should also look good and responsive on other screens, right? Because Google even prioritize mobile screens even more than desktop screen, because the truth is that since 2016, mobile users have already surpassed desktop users. So as a result, Google prioritize mobile screens more than desktop screens. So as you are working with your laptop, try to make sure it's very much mobile friendly across other screens. And if it's not, call on the developers, right? If you guys have a developer in the team, you have to call on the developers. They should set the code. They should optimize it to look to be very nice across our screen. And how can you tell? There's what we call the Google Mobile Friendly Test tool. Some of us are used to it, so you can just go to Google, you type Google Mobile Friendly Test tool, and then you put your website. When you put your website, it scores your website and it tells you the rating across all screen: 90% desktop, 85% mobile, 75% iPad screen or so. So you can see the score, you can see the actual score. And of course, you want to aim for green. It's like a bar, right? It's like this circular bar. You want to make sure it's above 70 for all of them. And if it's not, you find a way to optimize it to the developers. So that is mobile friendliness because it's part of the ranking algorithm. Yes, so that is all. Ella, if you are here, I hope I'm doing justice with the time because this was a very quick one. So yeah, wrapping up, by implementing these strategies diligently, you will not only improve your search engine ranking, but you will not only improve your search engine ranking, but also deliver valuable and user-centric content that resonates very well with your audience. All right, sorry for that, Ada. I'm zooming my screen. So yeah, remember that SEO is not just about algorithm, it's mostly about creating content that's meaningful and that's valuable to your readers, right? So best of luck in your SEO journey and happy writing. So before I go through some practical tips, let me just quickly brief through everything again for those of us that have questions. Just start dropping your questions on the chat. Start dropping your questions on the chat so I can start sticking them. So yeah, like I mentioned, we start with the keyword research, and this is where you use some sort of tools. If you are very good at it, you don't need tools. You can do the research yourself without any tools at all, be it paid or free tool. But if you're just getting started, you can use tools to help you out till you have like a hang over it. And then we have the content creation aspect where you have to conduct in-depth research. And of course, this is a very valuable skill for a content writer. You should know how to create very valuable, comprehensive, in-depth articles, right? And then we talk about the title tags and the meta description, and they will talk about the URL structures, saying it should be very short, concise, straight to the point. Shouldn't have prepositions, shouldn't have pronouns, shouldn't have conjunctions, and it shouldn't contain any unnecessary parameters. And by unnecessary parameters, I mean things like question mark, asterisks, and things of that nature. Right. Moving forward, we talked about the heading structure, which is also called the markup structure, of which we have the H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and we've also talked about the importance of all these tags, starting with the H1 being for the title tags, and the H2 being for the subheading, and the H3 being for the nested subheadings inside the H2 tag. And then we talked about image optimizations, where we said, of course, you need to optimize your image using the descriptive final, which is the keywords. You need to optimize their sizes, you need to compress it, and you need to get the image from a free stock platform. And we also talk about the importance of internal and external link. You shouldn't put content out there on the web that doesn't have any form of internal or external links. It will rank. And we also talked about mobile friendliness, right? After which we wrapped up. Okay, so that's all the major things. So start sending in your questions if you have any. If you don't have questions, we proceed to some live practicals, and I show you example of an actual site that followed all this process, an actual content that's now ranking on the web. And of course, you can also browse it on your phone. But before then, let me see your questions. If you don't have any question, I want you to just drop well received. Type well received on the chat. Well received, meaning you don't have any question. If you don't type well received, that means you have a question. So drop your question. So one of the two, either type well received or drop your question. So we just start for the next 3 minutes to take questions, and then we'll move to our example. Okay, so as we are with the question, so we have I have something for everyone present here. So this is my on-page SEO checklist, right? So it's a paid product. Um, it's a product that's on sale, but for everyone here, you get it for free. You get my on-page SEO checklist. You get it for free, 100% free. So just remind me. I will drop the link. So the link is basically linked to Substack. If you are used to Substack, so when you click on the link and you get to Substack, you just put your email. When you put your email, I'll see it, and then it's automated. You wait for like about 30 to 40 minutes, and it should get to you, right? So that's the on-page SEO checklist. So what's what can you really do with the on-page? What can you really do with the on-page SEO checklist? So let's see if we have it here. Okay, so Uchechukwu said this is my first time being in a SEO class, so I'm not too grounded to ask question now. Okay, that's no problem. That's no problem. So this is perfectly for beginners, and that's okay. So this is the on-page SEO checklist, and you can take a look at it. Just a moment. Let me just leave it on the screen. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. So back on track. So this is the on-page SEO checklist that I said I'm giving to you, everyone here. So yeah, it just tells you, it takes you through the process of um, on-page SEO, right? And you can see. Let me zoom out a little. So you can see things like when to insert your keyword. You insert your keyword in page title, page URL, meta description, Insert it naturally within the first paragraph, the image naturally in subheading, and you can see the page title. The page title should be in H1, meta description. So it's a whole lot, right? And as you go through all this, you just like check the box. So these are all the things you have to put in place. So you can see this checklist even covers more than what we even said on this webinar, right? So that is why I'm giving it out here for free. So what you have to do is to when you see the link, when I share the link on the chat, you click on the link and you put your mail and you get the checklist for free. That's if you're interested. Okay, so I'm checking for the question. So let's see. Okay, so the brilliant tech farmer said, what's the best way to get rank on Google if you're not using SEO? So you can never rank on Google without SEO. SEO basically means search engine optimization, right? So SEO is what you do to rank on Google. Do you get? It's just like it is an aspect of marketing. For Facebook ads, it's more like you ask, what can you do to promote your Facebook page? There is nothing you can do to promote your Facebook page. You have to run Facebook ad. So for Google, there is nothing you can do to rank on Google. You have to do SEO. You see why it's important for content writers. You see why it's important for companies and anybody that have a business that leverage the internet online, right? So you must use SEO. That is why SEO is a skill on its own. So the way we have development, and we have front end developer, we have back end developer. That's how we have on page SEO specialists. We have off page SEO specialists. We have technical SEO specialists. So these are different rules in SEO. So SEO is a department on its own. Is a tech field on its own. So you learn the skill to deliver these services, and without this SEO, you cannot rank on Google. Is that okay? Did I answer that question well, Unfon? So the next question we have here. If two companies, this is from Sophia. Okay, okay. So yeah, if two companies who are in the same industry wants their products to be first on the list, but if company A who pays for Google ad and company B who employs a SEO creator to optimize their sites, who makes the better choice? Would SEO overshadow Google? Will SEO overshadow Google ads on Google? Wow, this is a very, very smart, brilliant question. Do you all get the question? Right. So she says, if two companies who are in the same business line wants their products to come up first, right, when browse, and one decides to use Google ad. Of course, you know Google ads, those ads you see, and the other decides to use to pay an SEO expert or to employ an SEO expert, who makes the better choice? So the thing is that the one that choose to employ an SEO expert makes the better choice, and this is the reason why. So when you run Google ad is just for a short period of time, right? So Google ads are very, very, very expensive. Although paying an SEO expert is much more expensive, but the thing is that Google ads is for a very short period of time. So I can pay Google ads to promote my website on the very first results, probably for 7 days. What happened after that 7 days when your Google ad have expired, right? What happened after the 7 days? You go back to your page 1000 and something. So you get lost. You go back to your page 1000 and something, right? And then you will leave that first result for those the rightful owners of the first results. That's the SEO expert, right? You cannot keep running Google ad forever. It's not sustainable. It's very expensive and it's just something you just run for 7 days. Maybe you're promoting a product, maybe you're trying to launch something, just run your Google ad for 7 days. And let's even be realistic. Truth be told, how many times have you browsed on Google and you actually click on Google ad? You know, it always have this ad something at the top. How many times do you really click on Google ad? Personally, before I even got into SEO from childhood, anytime I see Google ad, I scroll to the next one that is not an ad. You really get, so most times even with ad, people still scroll to click the very first organic results. All right, people still scroll down to click the very first organic result, and when that ad expires, the website go back to where it rightfully belong, probably page 300 or so, and the rightful owners pushes back to the top. So you can see the SEO, the company that chooses to employ a full-time SEO creator still makes the best decision, because when you're ranking on Google, you're ranking there for life, right? So you can have your stuff on Google ranking since 2018 and it's still there on the first page. People browse every day. It keeps bringing in visitor organically. You are not paying for any ad. It's just sitting on the first page of Google, first results. You are not doing any other thing. It's just there for, and it's there for life. It's you versus other SEO experts. So they are trying to push you to second or third. But when you did everything right, when you've done everything right, you just keep remaining on that stuff, on that first result. Right. I've have sites, I've worked on platform that I took their content to the very first result. Since 2019 until today, 2020, they are still the very first results. Right. So that's that for that's that. So questions. Okay, there is no other question, I presume. Okay, so let me send this link. Okay, so this is let's go to the life example I talked about. Tega, I hope I answered your question. Drop affirmation if I clarified your question. So take a look at this article. All right, so it's a bit techy, but don't really bother yourself about the technicalities. Just let me zoom it out a bit. So yeah, so this is a technical article, right? So just observe the title: how to connect front end and back end. How to connect front end and back end using Python. Yeah, so observe the major thing here. This is the title, right? And this title, this is what I said will be in H1 tag, right? So this is the title I said will be in H1 tag. So take a look at here. You can see heading one. Yeah. Um Now these are the subheadings. All these ones here. So these subheadings are in H2 tags. You can see if I zoom this, I just hope everyone is seeing my screen. If I zoom this, you see this in H2 tag. Right? So these are what I mean by subheadings. And when you have a nested subheading, they should be in that other H2 tag. So let us take this topic, how to connect front end and back end using Python. Let's just go to Google. Okay. So okay, let's go to a plain Google, right? And let's paste this. How to connect front end and back end using Python. And by the way, that article is already published on the internet, right? So yeah, you can. We're currently on Google now. So let us zoom out on this a little. So you can see this, how to connect front end and back end using Python. You can see this. This is the very first result, and this website here is website for this. So this is the exact same article here that I uploaded on this site, which happens to be my own personal site, and you can see it here as the first result. And of course, when you scroll down, you can see other popular brands like Geek for Geeks. You can see Stack Overflow for those in development niche. You can see Medium, right? So you can see Reddit. You can see a lot of other popular brand, and then you can see us here as the very first result, thanks to SEO. So for this particular content we created on Google Docs, we are ranking number one, and as a result of ranking number one, we are bringing in more eyeballs. We are driving traffic to this particular website, and we are increasing our visibility. So this is just basically what SEO entails, right? You optimize your content, you do all those things I say you should do, have all those things in place, and then you should be sure to rank. And these are the different images on the websites. You can see they are very light image, and you can see everything here. And just to show you as proof, you can see this section. Step one, setting up the project structure. If you go back to the docs, you can see the exact same thing here, right? You can see the exact same thing here on Google Documents, right? So this is what I mean by SEO. Optimize your content, optimize your website so that when you upload it, you will just be the very first result on Google, right? So and you can replicate this process to everything you're pushing out there, right? So there are thousands of articles out there on these websites, all ranking one, and they end up bringing over 120,000 users to that particular website. One website, 120,000 visits. No form of promotion, no Facebook ads, no Insta ad, just purely SEO, 120,000 visits. So if you had to run Google ad to bring in 120,000 visits every month to your website, you should probably be spending twenties of thousands of dollars, making it very expensive. So at the end of the day, SEO wins, right? So that is all, and we've think that's all for now. There is nothing left, and we've come to the end. All right. So someone said I missed a question, so let me just scroll back and check for questions. What's the best way to get rank on Google? What's the best way to get rank on Google if you are using SEO? What's the best way? Okay, should an SEO writer have fair knowledge of website development? No. Yeah, you should have a fair knowledge, but surface knowledge is okay. Right. So we have different feeds in SEO. So we have the on-page SEO, we have the off-page SEO, and we have the technical SEO. If you work in the technical SEO, that is where you need to have a very, very deep knowledge of web development, right? If you work in the technical SEO, so it's either you work in the technical SEO or you work in the managerial SEO. So as an SEO manager, you need to have an idea of all the SEO fields, right? So it's either you work as an SEO manager or you work in the technical SEO. That is where you need a very sound knowledge of website development. But apart from that, if you are a content writer, your primary focus is on-page SEO. And as for on-page SEO, you don't really need to be well grounded in website development. You can do without it because you are coming from the content writing aspect. So yeah, I believed I've answered your question. So I'm looking for a way to share this link. So thank you very much everyone. And we've come to an end of this. Right. So Ella, you can come on board. I think I'm done here.
All right. I believe you were immensely impacted because this is an eye-opening session for me, I must say. I don't know if Stan is there. This is really robust. I mean, so much knowledge to grasp from this particular session. Thank you so much, Stanley, for giving us knowledge in this manner. You taught it in a way that even someone in kindergarten can understand and be able to share. So I want to be sure. I don't know why you're not on the screen.
Okay. I'm on the screen.
Okay.
Can you?
I can't see you from my end, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know why you don't. I can
Okay.
see let me see. Well, yeah, I can hear
Maybe
you.
can you work on that? I'm talking to the person on the backstage. Can you work on that by me? So thank you so much, Mr. Stan. It was really, really an impactful session, I must say. My book is filled. For those of you who are not writing, I am sorry for you, but I will share my notes with you. It's a lot of lessons that I've learned, and I quite appreciate you for sharing such an in-depth knowledge with us. Yes, thank you so much. Ranging from understanding what SEO entails, the external and internal links. I've always seen it on websites, but I don't know what it means until today. I thought it's just them doing oversabi. I never knew it had a meaning. I never knew there was a reason why it had to be so. I just felt like these people want to distract us and whatnot because I use the internet a lot. Thank you so much. The title tags, the meta description, the H1, the H2. I mean, you just nailed it. You taught this SEO as though you were teaching children in kindergarten. And what I mean by this is that it's so explanatory. I'm able to understand this. And for those of us who are here who do not understand what SEO entails, search engine optimization, he already made mention of that. Once you click on anything, even if you're searching Elo Banks, you just type Elo Banks, you see what people have said, who's Elo Banks' husband, who is, what does she do? And Elo Banks, the writer. You just see everything people have searched about me. You can also search your name. You can also search your best brand. You're going to see other things people have searched. Those are keywords. Those are Google optimizing information in that regards because of the number of clicks and number of people that have searched it. Thank you so much, Mr.